Welcome to Visualize, the podcast where collaboration fuels change. I'm your host, Chris Baker, and each week we'll explore incredible connections between nonprofits, businesses, and the community. This is a space where we highlight inspiring partnerships, uncover strategies for creating meaningful impact, and share stories that show how working together can make all the difference. Whether you're a nonprofit leader, a business owner, or someone just passionate about building connections, this podcast is for you.
So I'll talk about a big scale one and a small scale one. And so just a couple weeks ago, we had our gala, our annual gala, and it was a Olay theme. It was at Ron Bergeron's house and ranch, and it was way out west. But it was massive. It was a gigantic party. What we were able to raise in that gala was just well above, our net was well above what our gross used to be, if that makes sense. So
It does.
I'm trying to figure out the right ways to say my math terms here, but it was just a much larger, more successful gala than we've had in the past. And I think that is a piece of probably having a larger board to help spread the awareness doesn't hurt. So, and Ron Bergeron was instrumental in that and being able to help with, providing a good rate to a nonprofit to be able to help hold a huge event at his place. So we have a huge thank you to him. We honored him at our last gala. And so
awesome.
He's been extremely helpful. And then it's just the individual board members, you've got, Jesse Bernheim has been, big name in South Florida, and the attorney world has been super helpful. Karen Ross, you know Karen Ross, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Karen is always making an introduction. And just we've got a really great group of board members that are willing to help and just make those introductions and spread the word. And then one of the things that I like to do kind of on a smaller scale every year is I will put together something that is the opposite of the gala. It's like we did last year, we threw, most of these fundraisers are at like a cigar bar or something that has to feel classy. But I was like, we're going to do one on a Saturday at a big brewery. So we had like 150 tickets sold or something last June. And I put my whole network together and branded it as like kind of one of my events and their whole network, and just kind of brought it together to get a bunch of young professionals, a bunch of my clients and referral partners, as well as a lot of Children's Harbor's network that they already have. To just get together, good time, couple beers, eat some food, and people are spreading the word and networking, and and that of course goes all over LinkedIn and social media and continues to help perpetuate what Children's Harbor's doing.
No, it definitely does. And honestly, what's kind of nice about that is it sounds more like just a soiree of people getting together and just having a good time.
Yeah.
Instead of like, I love the galas, don't get me wrong, but there's a different energy.
For sure.
There's a different energy when you
got to do the ask. You got to do,
it's a bigger ask. It's like, all right, this is our main event of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have that smaller one, it's just a little bit more intimate.
Yeah.
And it's also got the opportunity to really connect on a smaller level.
Agreed.
And that sometimes you don't actually just get the chance to just sit back and toss back a beer and just chat.
Exactly.
And so there is that networking, but it's also that fundraising.
Yeah.
And it kind of works hand in hand. I love that.
And it's relaxed. And obviously the brewery event is never gonna raise as much money as the giant gala does. But it just, having those smaller events throughout the year too just continues to kind of spread the word, and you get different groups of people, different networks that would show up to the brewery as opposed to the gala, right?
Yeah. And honestly, it kind of gives, depending on when it's being when it's positioned, it could be an amazing opportunity to get them to the gala,
right,
that they might not have normally ever went to.
Agreed.
So there is multiple different ways, because I see probably, I don't know how many events you guys have at Children's Harbor, but I want to say at least I've seen 6 in the last year.
Yeah, at least that, because there's the big gala, there's the boat parade watch party we do at the end of the year. Those are probably the 2 biggest events, but there's probably 6 or 7 other smaller mixers throughout the year that we're doing as well.
I love Tiffany and Eric's videos.
Yeah.
They come out, they are hilarious. So I really appreciate that, because it gets the organization more engagement,
For sure.
because there is that entertainment value.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they're actually doing an amazing feat for the community. They're giving, these kids the chance to like have a home
Mhm.
and a family, but they're doing it in such a unique way where
Yeah.
they're still having fun with all these different events. They're promoting the different event that's coming up, and they get dressed up and they have a lot of fun. So if you've not seen their videos, definitely go check them out. They're
For sure.
fantastic.
It's the perfect blend of corny and serious, and gets the message out. You gotta hook people's attention
You really
first
do.
and get them, do something fun and entertaining in order to help them actually be able to listen to the real message later. Yeah, agreed.
100% awesome. So where do you see the future of Children's Harbor going
Yeah.
in the next couple years?
There's a newer component. So I mentioned Browns Harbor already.
Yeah.
I talked about Children's Harbor, kind of the main campus that houses teens. There's a third component already that less people know about, which is like more of a community-based function of it, where anybody who lives anywhere surrounding the campus can ask for help, and can have in-house counseling. So that component of it, that outreach component of it, is actually one of the largest components of it. It's just harder for people to wrap their brain around sometimes, because they're thinking more about the kid that's been pulled out of home in foster care. But that is more of a preventative measure, right, of trying to get to these homes that are already having issues, and from kind of a more emotionally intelligent standpoint. So those are the 3 main components now. But one of the things that Children's Harbor really is excited about and has done recently, that they really want to focus more resources and growth on, is this learning center that is on campus. So you have to imagine that a lot of these kids many of them have decided not to go to school, right?
Sure.
Understandably so. And because all the stuff that they've been through, and no one at Children's Harbor can make them go to school, right? Like, no one at Children's Harbor can physically force them to get up and go to school. So they can stay on top of them, of course, and some of them that results in online learning and stuff, and whatever way they got to do it to get to graduation. But the Learning Center is a more recent development that is on the campus and has a teacher there. So these kids are in the Learning Center working on their own individual courses, but there is a teacher there to help them. And not just a teacher where they can answer a question about a math problem, a teacher that has the understanding of where these kids come from and what they've been through, and can sit down with them and really help them work through this stuff, both kind of emotionally first, so that they can then get to the logical schoolwork part of it, right?
Right.
So this learning center, Tiffany has talked a lot about recently how the way that she has seen these kids' reading level just jump by 3 grades in a short period of time. Because you've got high schoolers, reading at an elementary level.
Sure.
And by having this learning center on campus has really helped these kids kind of advance their education at a much quicker pace than they could if they were just doing it on their own and said, hey, go finish your English course online or whatever.
Right. No, that's extremely important, because honestly, those literacy skills are going to skyrocket them in career, in life, everywhere. So having some type of schooling assistance is just preparing them for the future.
Yeah.
And it's so important. That's wow.
So as long as Children's Harbor's been around, this is one of the things that they are just currently most excited about growing, because it really, Children's Harbor can fill a housing need, right? And Children's Harbor can try to fill as much of the emotional need as they can, but this component, the educational need, has been really challenging because the kids don't want to participate in it a lot of times. But this opportunity has gotten the kids more excited, and more willing to show up and get their stuff done with the help of somebody standing by to be able to, walk them through how to walk through it.
You've actually opened my eyes to a few different things that I did not know about Children's Harbor.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really appreciate is the less known one. They're trying to fix the root problems.
Right. Yeah.
And to me, that's so valuable.
For sure.
Because if you can actually get in there when you see the problems and you can start making changes, hopefully those changes can prevent the kids from having to be pulled out.
Agreed. Yeah.
And that's making the world even that much better.
Yeah.
So
and that's the goal. It's just a harder concept. That one, I guess, gets talked about a little less because it's a harder concept for people to visualize, right? You can picture the kid. We can have the kid who is in Children's Harbor's foster facility right now tell you their story, and it's impactful, and you get it. And by having some of that more preventative in the community pieces, that's the whole goal, is to prevent it. It's just harder for people to picture when they're trying to help raise funds for something,
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
No, that one, it is a little bit more of a challenge, but I am glad that they're actually trying to do it.
For sure.
And I think there's people like me that actually see it as the root.
Yeah.
And if we can solve the root, we're solving a bigger problem in our community.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping more people actually will get behind it.
For sure.
Now that, if we can talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Not everybody, unfortunately, will be there, but, we have to get that awareness out there. So that is a possibility. So that's awesome.
Agreed.
There's
another reason. It wasn't when I was originally drawn towards the guardian ad litem thing and learning about Children's Harbor. It was because I could see my past from the time I was born to about 10. Both of my parents struggled with addiction issues, and so it was unstable living situation, if you will, right? My sister and I have an older sister, 6.5 years older than me, who really kind of had to become mom a lot of the time for those first probably 10 years of my life or so. And our living situation changed probably 5 times throughout the course of those 10 years, where mom is going off to rehab for a year and trying to figure it out. So, you're 3 or 4 years old and mom is just like, okay, I'm leaving for a long period of time. So then it's like, okay, who's filling the void? We go move in with grandma for a year. So first grade, I lived with my grandma. We moved from Margate over to Pompano. And then mom's back and trying to figure it out. We moved back to Margate. And then, it's relapse situation. Dad moves in the house and dad's trying to figure it out, but dad can't keep up.
Wow.
Mom and dad got divorced. So they got married, had my sister, got divorced, got married, had me, got divorced. That's you. I know you haven't heard that story before.
No.
They were divorced twice by the time I was like 2 or 3. And so that just, they were very loving and passionate people, and I got a lot of great memories with them and great things from them, and also just like not the most stable people, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of went through a lot of that instability in childhood, my sister and I, and it was very possible that I could have been kind of removed from the home and put into the system at any kind of given point.
Oh, yeah. I
was lucky to have my grandparents around. And so by the time I was 9 or 10, I moved in permanently with my grandparents. While my parents were still alive and struggling with the instability. And then by the time I was 13, my mom passed away. Dad passed away when I was 15, and it was just all of it was related to the, addiction issues. So we grew up seeing that kind of instability. And luckily, my grandparents were more of a beacon of stability and hard work and, something that I could see as a good example. So we were very lucky to have them. But when I, got older and I'm building a family of my own and my business is going well and everything in life seems to be working out really well. And then I hear about Guardian Ad Litem and these kids that came from a similar situation that I came from. I'm like, well, shit, like it's my duty now, it is my duty to find a way to get reconnected and give back something,
It hit home.
Yeah, exactly. It kept tugging at me. I heard about it in a couple different organizations.
Yeah.
Like the second or third time I heard about it, I was like, I can't deny this anymore. I got to go get involved in helping,
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's it's a challenging story, but I'm glad that you shared it because I really do feel that I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And why you stepped in
Mm-hmm.
to help, Children's Harbor the way that you have.
Yeah.
Because there is such a connection and a deep connection.
For sure.
I'm glad that you had your grandparents be that stability that you needed.
For sure. Yeah.
Towards the end of, your childhood.
And we were very lucky to have them around. And I was very lucky that, and my sister had to grow up young. We both grew up young, but she was the one, making dinner and stuff a lot of times and just helping out. And so I was very lucky to have my sister and I were both very lucky to have my grandparents around. And it's so easy to see what I've seen now so much of okay, what if they weren't, what if we didn't have any other family around? And that's why it's we got to help these kids in any way that we can because they don't all have that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Wow. So how does someone get involved or assist Children's Harbor?
Sure. There's a number of ways, and you don't have to be on the board to be able to help impact change and spread the word about it. You'll see on a lot of the social media, you'll see the hashtag Harbor Keeper. So kind of that first layer, that first level is just come out to the events, buy a ticket to the galas, come support the little mixers at a brewery or a cigar bar that we put together.
Sure.
And that's, of course you're there meeting good people and networking, but you're doing it for a good cause. And so you can give in that way, or you can spread the word in that way. A secondary way would be we have different committees branched out from the board that you do not actually have to be a board member to participate in all those. So we had our first, I forgot to mention this one, this is a big one. We had our first golf tournament this last year, and it was a huge success. And there was a committee for the golf tournament to put the whole thing together. And I would say half of the people on that committee are not on the board, but there are people involved in the golf community that were like, this is my lane. This is where I can help. So you kind of look for your lane, and there might be a good committee that you can get involved in, even if you are not a board member. But that first layer, like I said, is just show up to the events, share this stuff on Facebook and LinkedIn, and, we're in a digital world, so that helps too.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
All right. So as we wrap up, what is the legacy that you personally want to leave for future generations?
In my, we're going to start over again one second.
Yeah.
That I hope to leave for future generations. Okay. All right. Ask me one more time.
Yeah. So what is your legacy that you want to leave personally for future generations?
There's a couple different lanes here, and obviously it's really helpful to be able to give back and impact at Children's Harbor. I really enjoy impacting the individual lives too of the agents that I get the opportunity to manage and mentor in my personal business. I could spend all of my time selling real estate if I wanted to, and that can provide a really good income. And what I end up doing with a lot of my time is mentoring brand new agents and giving back to them the knowledge of an industry that gave me so much, and really kind of allowed me to grow at the speed I wanted to grow and build something as big as I wanted to build it. And those agents, they don't get mentorship at other brokerages a lot of times.
Okay.
So to be able to sit one-on-one with somebody, and we're not just talking about here's how you grow your network or here's how you close a deal. We're talking about coaching on their emotional intelligence, their relationships, their finances, their personal lives. It's really kind of all-encompassing. So to get to watch their lives grow and watch their lives change as they build their businesses is super impactful for me too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I really like that. Again, the first thing that comes to mind is you're a leader and you're transforming lives by giving them the skills and the knowledge to improve their own.
I like the words you used. I like that.
So that's your legacy.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I can kind of pull that out.
Thank
That's what I understood and that's what I heard.
Yeah.
So even the words that you used, I felt it. And so that was impactful, and I really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
So, Nick, thank you so much again for being on the show today.
Thank you.
You opened my eyes to a few different things that I didn't realize about Children's Harbor, and thank you so much for telling your story, because that was impactful.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Visualize. We hope that the inspiration and practical insights can help you foster stronger connections and meaningful change. Don't forget to subscribe, share the episode, and leave us a review. To learn more about Visuals by Momo and how we support collaboration and storytelling, visit visualsbymomo.com. A huge thank you to everyone out there listening. Until next time, remember, collaboration fuels change, and your connections can inspire the world.